Oh, that's too funny. Wow, this is such a charming, charming story. It's just so full of synchronicities, which is what we were talking about before. That so now I understand more of why you are the Oola seeker.
Yeah.
And Dr.
Um,
Troy is the Oola guru.
yeah, when we sat down to write the book, it was going to be me. Troy wasn't going to be in the book because he was retired and he wanted to stay that way. And it started off with, no, I don't think anybody knows this. This is hilarious. It started off with me being the Oola master.
Oh.
And not the Oola seeker, Oola guru. It wasn't Oola seeker, Oola guru. It was you're the Oola master and you're trying to master the ways to get it back, right? You're trying to learn the ways to get it back. And we laughed about that a lot. I'm like, dude, I am so not the master. I drove a minivan here. Like, I'm not the master. But I'm seeking it. And he goes, okay, you're the Oola seeker. And then it came out somewhere in conversation, well, if there's a seeker, we need a guru. And I'm like, you have to be the guru. So the first 10,000 books printed, if you have one of the old original books, the first 10,000 books was a picture of Troy's back of his head. Not, you take those little author pictures and you look at the jacket on the back of the book, and there's usually smiley big faces.
Right.
Like I wrote a book. I had the smiley big face with a tie on, and Troy had the back of his head. And he's like, I'm not coming out of retirement. But he was going to be the Oola guru, but no one was going to know who he was kind of the plan.
That's cool. That's actually very cool.
Yeah. It's really rare that we find one of those books, and when we're doing book signings, someone will bring them to us once in a while.
Oh, fun.
And yeah, so obviously Troy came out of retirement after everything took off and started growing.
Oh, that is so fun. So he came out of retirement happily, probably, because you guys probably have fun when you do these events everywhere.
It's amazing. We talked to Troy. That's something we do talk about at book signings and stuff. Book signings are great because it's just a lot of question and answer. We have a party. I mean, it's so much fun with everybody there because we get to answer questions that we don't talk about normally on stage. On stage, we have a pretty clear direction where we're going to take a talk. But that comes up all the time, like how's coming out of retirement. And speaking for Troy, he says all the time, it's the hardest he's ever worked in his life. But it's also the most rewarding job he's ever had. And when people come up to this bus and they put stickers on the bus and they got tears in their eyes, or every day, 4 or 5 times a day, we get emails, messages about how Oola saved their marriage or got their spiritual journey back on track. They've lost 100 pounds or they got their house paid off. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of fuel to keep Oola going that way. It's just, there's so much passion behind it.
Very good. I love that. When I was going through all that stuff that I went through, and I had part of my journey changed, luckily, but I was still kind of in my funk, and I was looking for things, and I ran across you doing a video walking around your pool with palm trees, and you were saying how you've been, and I don't remember exactly, and I think it was like in 2011, and you were saying...
That was Troy's pool.
That was Troy's pool. And you were saying how your life has changed, now you have to keep plugging away, or whatever you said. It really influenced me, so thank you.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And it was before the book even came out.
Man, that is really rare, because I think before the book came out there, so we talked about sharing Oola. So you're bringing up something, again, that I've never talked about. So you were talking about sharing Oola, or we were talking about sharing Oola, and we didn't know how. So we had this idea of a book. We had this idea of a vlog, podcast. How is Dave going to go share Oola? Because that was my big goal. And I started shooting some videos almost more for fun, like just to see if people liked them. Uh-huh. And the videos we shot before the book at Troy's pool was when I was out there in December before the book even came out. Uh-huh. And I shot some videos and put them out there. Not a lot of people have seen that. So being that that's the video you saw that drew you into Oola, that's pretty wild.
Yes. Oh, that is just amazing. And I'll tell you, it's everything that you said just hit me so hard that it snapped me out of it. You and Jan Van Zant were my heroes for a year. Like I just couldn't get enough.
She actually did an endorsement on our last book.
How cool is that?
So,
I love that
yeah.
very much. That is so
Yeah.
cool. So
Very cool.
So here you are involved in Young Living, and now you just came out with a tea, and I just bought some bracelets, and it was an International Oola Day on Saturday, and boy, I really partied it up.
Yeah, that's amazing. When you talk about synchronicities and kind of what we call them the weird things that happen in Oola, the God in Oola, whatever it is the stuff that's happened. You have this purpose of like, we're going to go share Oola, but we would have never ever guessed there would be a bus and stickers and tea and necklaces and hats, but it's turned from a process into a book, and that book has turned into a lifestyle for people. Mm-hmm. So we just keep eating that lifestyle with what people want. It's like, what do you guys want? They're like, diffuser necklaces. What do you want? Healthy alternatives under fitness, and there's just so many things that we try to keep providing, but we always try to keep providing the highest quality products for people.
Yeah, and so now your teas. That's kind of fun. What led you to the tea?
That was something that started on the bus. It was a conversation that started on the bus, and what happened is I'm going to divulge some personal information here, but Troy had a major Monster addiction, energy drink, because on the bus he's fine with me telling you this. I can tell you all sorts of stuff. He's not on. He didn't make the call. But Troy had this major Monster addiction because we would literally get done with a book sign about 9 or 10 at night, and we would drive to the next city about 4 or 5 hours, and we would maybe get an hour or two of sleep and have to be on morning TV, morning radio, noon shows. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Go to libraries, go to schools, and then we would do a book signing that night and roll to the next city. So when we go on tour, there's a lot of nights at 2 to 3 hours of sleep. So I was pounding coffees and tea, and he was pounding Monster drinks. Oh. And I was like, you can't drink Monsters for the next 10 years trying to clutch a million dreams. It's going to kill you. And he's like, you've come up with an alternative that works for me. I'm in. So I'm like, just try this tea, because I've been big into tea my whole life. And I'm like, just try this tea. And finally there was a tea, a peppermint tea, black tea, that I put peppermint essential oil in it. And I said, use this. So we started drinking this black tea with peppermint essential oil. He loved it. Huh. And then what happened on our end, though, is we had people constantly reaching out to us about fitness. Like, how do you guys stay fit? How do you stay healthy? How do you there's all these things. And one of the things I do every day is I start and end every day with tea. I start with a tea, cleanse my body, get my body started, use essential oils in my tea, and then I, end my day with a tea. And then in between, there's a whole program that I follow in my own life on how I eat and how I exercise. But that was just one of those things and tea is so Oola. It's so growing in the U.S. right now. Tea is the number 2 most consumed beverage on the planet. It's just really starting to come into the U.S. And a lot of the tea companies do it very old, very plain. And I was like, let's make tea cool. So I talked to Troy about this for a year, about let's make tea super cool. And finally he gave in, and he was like, okay, if you can find someone to work with like Young Living that'll make all of our tea for us because we don't have time, he goes, then you can kind of come up with the blends, work with the blends, and we'll have a company that we can collaborate with that'll make a line of Oola teas. And we worked with 3 companies, and we started working with the process. And then Troy and I met. This is such a good conversation. You're just bringing me back. This is not long ago, a year ago. And Troy and I met, and he goes, okay, if we're going to create something, it has to be the best. There's so many hidden things in Oola. The Oola hats are very, very popular. We sell them by the tens of thousands. But no one knows there's 7 snaps on the back because 7 is in Oola. We pay that much attention to the detail of every product we make. So Troy said, okay, if we're doing tea, we got to do it better than anybody on the planet. How are we going to do it? And I said, okay, first of all, only 2% of the tea is certified organic tea in the U.S. Only 2%. So we have to be certified organic. That's going to separate us. So we wrote down on a note card, certified organic tea. And then he said, what else? And I said, it has to be loose leaf, whole leaf tea, not loose leaf, whole leaf tea,
Wow.
hand-picked, not by a machine, not ground up, but I want it in sachets, like a pyramid sachet, so it's easy to use because our people that follow Oola, they're busy. They're busy going to get their Oola life, and it's hard to scoop out whole leaf tea and loose leaf tea and put it into measuring things and all that. We want to measure it all for him and get it dialed in. He said, I love it. And then he goes, what's going to really separate us is he goes, you make me that peppermint tea with peppermint essential oil. Let's make all of our blends good on their own, but formulated for essential oils. And
Nice.
I said, love it. So we went and we started working with companies. We had 3 companies pretty interested in. In that whole meantime, we came up with the idea of let's make sure every bag feeds a child in need. So there's a give back program to the tea because it's such a big part of what we believe in, collecting 1 million dreams and now feeding 1 million children. And once we did that, all 3 companies backed out. They said they can't get the margins right, it won't work. And out of just being stubborn, Oola, we were so far down the process, and we were already making blends that we knew people would love and would help people with their health. We actually launched our own tea company.
Nice.
So we launched our own tea company. We bought everything we need to run a tea company. Everything's USDA or certified organic, and everything's not, non-GMO, obviously, all that. And we launched a tea company in December of last year, and we had our goal set to be at a certain level by December of 2018, and we exceeded that goal in our first month.
I'm not surprised.
And right now it's 4 times what that goal was, is where the tea is right now, 4 times higher than what we thought we would be in a year. So, yeah, people have loved it. People are using it to teach others about essential oils. People are having tea parties like you had and introducing people to tea and essential oils. So it's become a big part of Oola.
That is really, really cool. Some wonderful, wonderful stories. So your life is it unfolding the way that you thought it would?
It's such an interesting question because, you sit down every year, right, and you write out these goals, and you start taking action towards them, and you work towards that. And then you readjust in the summer, 6 months, 7 months in. I'm a big dreamer. Like, I have big goals and dreams. I would say Oola, the Oola part of that has seriously exceeded that. Because if you go back 5 years ago or 6 years ago, whatever, when I shot a video by Troy's Pool saying, hey, there's this Oola thing, we're going to start talking about it. You couldn't sit around a boardroom and say, okay, in 2013, we want to start running this company, Young Living. In 2015, we want to buy a VW bus that goes 50 miles an hour, no air, no heat, and try to drive it across the country, collecting 1 million stickers, and start a tea company and feed 1 million children. So that part of it has just exceeded everything because there's no way to track it. So I don't know where Oola's going to be in 1 to 5 years. We really kind of let Oola direct itself. We feel like we get in the way if we try to overthink it.
Right.
But in my life in general, yeah, I love my life. I mean, I definitely have my Oola life. And I love what I get to do for work. It's incredible that this is what I get to do for a living, is talk about something like Oola and help people. So, yeah, that's a great question. I think it's just exceeded it in so many different ways,
Very good, and I hope it continues to do that. That is so wonderful. So, so now you're going to be traveling for a little while. What's your favorite thing about being on the road, and what's your least favorite?
I love the road. The least favorite for sure is being away from family. But we go 7 to 10 days a month, so it's not over excessive, Every single thing about the road, I love. I love the people. I love collecting dreams, the book signings. I love not sleeping. I love being 110 degrees in the bus and sweating. I just love it. Like, it's just, if anybody can go across the country at 50 miles an hour with this big windshield and meet people everywhere you go, you see the world so different. So if I had to pick one thing, it's again, my perspective on the world, my perspective on the people of this planet. because you watch the news and you think gloom and doom and there's shootings and there's bad things happening and the world is falling apart. And what you really see